Now it's time for the true moneymaker of the pod, which is the group of five high five round robin here in week 10. Love the high five. It's something that's not only am I clearly rooting for my own picks, but I always keep an eye on what you're picking, betting it individually, pairing it up into different parlays. So I'll get it started this week. I got three on my docket. Maction's back. Last night was fantastic. I believe we saw 14 points in the first half between Miami of Ohio and the Ohio Bobcats, and then they dropped a 54-point bomb in the second half. I love that kind of volatility. I love the fact that there's weird, kind of momentum elements that play a big part in MAC football. And I don't know if you saw, but Kent State is just wearing some fire unis. Go ahead, check it out on Twitter. I think that's going to be enough to push them across the finish line. I like the Golden Flashes -4. With that loss last night by the Red Hawks, they now have an opportunity to take a full game lead in the MAC West. And really, since MAC play has started, they've just been cooking on offense, 35 points per game. And Dustin Crum has gotten off the mat after getting beat up by A&M and Iowa earlier in the season. Last 4 games, he's accounted for 11 total touchdowns, but more importantly, 0 turnovers. And here's the thing, Kent State can't stop the run, 116th nationally. We're not breaking any new ground here. They also give up huge plays on the ground, 124th in run plays allowed of 20 yards or more. But when I look at the opposing team and what should be a shootout, I'm going against a quarterback that I think is by far the inferior one in this matchup. And Rocky Lombardi, his QBR in almost half of his games this year are just as bad as his blonde haircut. He has been horrific. He's had 2 sub 25 point out of 100 QBR games. And I think for that reason, when the pressure's on to be able to move the football down the stretch against a Kent State team that's going to keep the pressure on them, I'm banking on him making the mistakes. I know that Ianello has been, on the fence about Rocky Lombardi. I think he may actually be a closeted fan. So we're going to find out now. Is this somebody that you're really into, that you believe has a high-end NFL draft, potential landing spot? Maybe he shows out at the NFL Combine. I just want to set you up perfectly because I know this is somebody that elicits a lot of mixed emotions from you.
You have no idea how much I needed to hear you give out this pick because I've been wavering all week because there's nothing I love more than betting against Rocky Lombardi. And I wanted to do it. But the problem is I've been burned before. Northern Illinois has been incredibly lucky, and I've been super nervous because, it's easy to say, regression's coming because they've been lucky. But my attitude is always like, okay, but what if they keep getting lucky? So you're on Kent State. Literally just put it in as we're talking because all I needed to hear was that you agreed with me. I'm taking it. Go Flashes.
All right. How about your pick here to pair up for the G5 high five?
So I'm pretty sure you have a play in this game coming, which makes me super nervous because this didn't work for me last week when I did it. But we're going back to the well with our little 2-for-1 special. I'm taking SMU -4.5 against Memphis. That game last week got a little, out of hand with Houston. It was kind of a crazy back and forth game, like I mentioned earlier. SMU scored to tie with 30 seconds left, and then immediately give up a 100-yard kick return to lose. So I still I'll play SMU again against Houston. They were -1. It was a coin flip game. It came down to a coin flip. I got them at a coin flip price. So I still think that was the right side. And obviously Clayton Tune played a lot better than we thought. But this is still a very short number for a very good SMU team against a very bad Memphis team. SMU is still first in the country in pass success rate. Memphis is 88th in pass success defense. SMU is 10th in the country in big plays. They have a huge advantage in the big play department. They have a huge advantage in the havoc department, and they have a huge advantage in finishing drives. SMU's defense is 12th in the country against the run. And yeah, we saw Clayton Tune was able to beat them through the air last week, but Memphis quarterback Seth Hennigan is hurt. He's a game time decision. He didn't play. I don't know that he's going to play in this game. He didn't play last week. Instead, Peter Parrish came in. He had no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I'm going to get this number soon because if Hennigan is ruled out, I think the number is going to go up. And even if Hennigan's ruled in, we like Hennigan. We've taken him before. He's not better than Tanner Mordecai. And there's just so many weapons on this SMU offense, and this Memphis defense is just really bad. So I think SMU is going to bounce back after that tough loss to Houston. I like him to cover the 4 against Memphis.
Yeah, I'll piggyback quickly here. I like the over 71, also predicated on whether Hennigan plays or not. When he's started and finished the game, Memphis is averaging 36 points per game. And when you look at SMU going on the road, they may be the best road offense in the country. They're averaging 38 points per game away from Dallas. And because of that, I think they're going to be able to light up this Memphis defense. And then finally, SMU's special teams is just horrific. 119th in kickoff defense or coverage, however you want to phrase it. And in terms of when, they put the ball in the air, punting it, Calvin Austin III is one of the most electric playmakers with the ball in his hands. And I think you're going to see Memphis find a way to get him maybe on the field for kickoffs for the very first time this season, but certainly on punt returns. So the opportunity to get those bonus scores, those non-offensive touchdowns, I think it's ripe in this game. So I like over 71. But once again, you're going to want to follow up on Twitter, collegefantasyupdate.com. They'll do a good job of being tied into the beat reporters to give you that updated information on Seth Hennigan. I'll go quickly to my last round robin pick here, and it's going to probably burn you a little bit because you had the logic last week, and then the Cincinnati offense didn't show up. This week, Cincy minus 23 against a Tulsa offense that flat out stinks. They were held to 17 points or fewer 3 times this season against UC Davis, go Aggies, Houston, and Navy, where I hit last week. Navy just absolutely shut them down, got off the field whenever they wanted. This Cincinnati defense is going to play angry. This is their time to send a message to the College Football Playoff Committee. You can even see it in the comments by Luke Fickle, someone who hasn't played politics with this. He's pissed. He's going right after the committee. And I think when you pair that up with College game day being on the campus, the chances of a flat performance here are basically zero. Tulsa's 83rd against the run. I'm going to see a really big performance from Jerome Ford and also Desmond Ridder, getting involved in the zone read. They've given up so many runs of 30 yards or more, 92nd in the country. So big plays for the Cincinnati running game. And I think there's a high likelihood they're going to hold them under 2 touchdowns when Tulsa has the football. So minus 23, no problem. My power rankings actually call it to be in that 30 to 31 point range. So more than a touchdown worth the value. Love the Bearcats here.
Yeah, obviously I liked it last week. Didn't like it again this week for the same reason you just said. For my last pick, I purposely did not tell you what this play is. You don't know it. Usually we tell each other ahead of time. You don't know this. I didn't tell you on purpose. I wanted your live reaction. I've never seen the movie Sophie's Choice, but I imagine it's about a woman, from my understanding, it's about a woman trying to decide between her 2 favorite Conference USA schools. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, I believe they were actually in the old SWAC back in the day because it's a movie from the 80s. But yeah, it still holds.
It's about a woman trying to choose between her 2 favorite G5 schools. And we have that matchup this week. And I couldn't not make a play. And I'll be honest, I spent a lot of time trying to decide how to play it because I knew I had to play it. I hate to do this. I'm taking UTEP plus 11. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be kind of a little bit of a slog. It's going to be a great game. College game day not being there is a joke. Cue the music. We're going down to El Paso. Obviously, we already talked about how good of a start UTEP's off to. They lost 28-25 last week to FAU, kind of a heartbreaking fashion. But what I liked is, like we talked about, back door was open. They didn't give up. They have fight. This team is so well coached. They play hard for each other. I love this team. They scored 15 points in the final 3 minutes, covered the onside kick, as you talked about. Gavin Hardison is so much better this year than he was last year. UTEP is 30th in the country in pass success rate. Jacob Cowling has been a really good receiver for them. He's gone over 100 yards in 4 of the last 6 games. They have 2 great running backs, Ronald Awatt, Deion Hankins. Both of them are averaging over 50 yards per game on the ground. UTEP's 23rd in the country in rush rate. They want to run the ball. They run the ball a ton. And that's good for a big spread. It's good for an underdog. And the UTSA defense is good. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. But like I said, I think UTEP slows this down. I think they kind of shrink the possessions. 23rd in rush rate. They're 122nd in plays per minute. But this UTEP defense is awesome. They are 10th in the country in pass success. They're 19th in rush success, 12th in line yards, 28th in preventing big plays, 26th at preventing finishing drives, and they're 1st in the country in havoc rate. So I think they're going to do just enough to get into this UTSA backfield. I'm hoping it's a big-time Sincere McCormick game, a little less Frank Harris. Keep the ball on the ground. Both teams run the ball. UTSA wins by 7. Everyone goes home happy. I had to play it. I'm taking the Miners in the Sun Bowl plus 11.
I mean, it's pretty simple. You love your kids, not equally. I mean, don't tell your kids that, but there's always one that's your favorite. And in this case, it's so close. It's legitimately so close which team we've been carrying the water for more this season. but there's only one that's left with an absolute dream season on the line, and that's UTSA. So give them a 10-point victory. Let the Miners cover. Everybody wins. I'm with you there 100%.
And here's the best part of this is, again, I think if you're gambling to make money, you're probably in some trouble and you should call, one of those numbers. I'm gambling for fun. If I lose this bet because UTSA wins, then you know what? Good for my second favorite child. I'm going to be happy for them as well. This is a win-win situation. This is I want a little skin in the game. I'm rooting for UTEP. If UTSA blows the doors on them, then I just get to complain on Twitter that they're not ranked. So you really can't lose in this situation. Financially, yes, I hope UTSA wins by 10, but I'll be happy regardless of who wins this game. Go Miner Nation.